This is the world of Miitopia. Everyone was living their normal, awesome lives. Well, at least they were. And then some rando comes in and is like, steals everyone's faces. Like, who even does that? But also, why do I care again? I'm some guy traveling. You know me, right? I'm the no-hitting guy. I'm sure you've seen some of my previous efforts before, right? Well, let me just tell you, it's about to be my problem because look at that, there's another freaking monster right in front of me. So, well, the best thing to do in this situation is just run away. Really fast. After running for my life, I come face to face with the Dark Lord themselves. This dude wants to steal the faces of people and put them on different types of monsters. And as they steal the town's faces, I'm left wondering what to do. After getting a request to save the mother's son, we travel over back to the Dark Lord, who makes us fight our very first monster, a slime. Before the slime can harm us, a voice from above comes down and helps us by giving us a class. I choose the Thief class and start the battle. However, I don't have a way to not get hit by the slime just yet, except I actually do. See, when you first start the game, you can choose what type your personality is. All of these have various buffs and downsides, but the one with the most dominance over the others is the cool personality. Not only can it deal extra damage with a normal attack and have a chance to not be statused, but it has a decent chance to dodge every physical move in the entire game. With some good luck, we can dodge all of its moves and take it down. After returning the face, and with the power to fight monsters, it's time to liberate the land. And also get revenge for the Dark Lord freaking trying to hit me. This is the Miitopia No Damage Challenge. Firstly, we need to help everyone in Greenhorn. Fighting is a bit difficult at the moment due to our low attack stat, but since our speed is high, we don't need to worry about getting hit immediately before the fight even starts. Thankfully, we can manage to kill the first enemy so we can get experience points to level up. After a few ways into the second level, we meet up with another traveler, Miss Spy Gal. Now, before I introduce her, I want to talk about the other classes and why we won't be using most of them. Warrior is a powerful physical attacker with good spread moves, however it has varying glaring flaws, at least for this challenge. Warrior's stats lean towards attack and defense, and that's no good when defense isn't used here. Furthermore, its speed is horrendous. Base 5 speed is completely awful, getting outsped by everything. How speed works is if you have more speed, you will go first. However, if your speed is 5 before someone else's, then the game considers it a speed tie. For example, an ally with 6 speed versus an enemy with 10 speed is still a speed tie, since they are both 5 speed apart. However, if the enemy had 2 more points for 12, then the speed tie would never happen and the foe would always go before them. While we can fix warrior speed problem later, for the early game, it's just not worth it right now. Cleric should be very obvious. We have no need for healing in a run like this. Sucks too because its stat spread is very good actually. One of the fastest classes with the base 11 speed with an insanely high magic stat. If only it didn't learn its only attacking move so very late, it could have been a great niche class option. Popstar is useless. Not only is the AI bad, but it only carries support moves. And as we've seen in Persona 3, AI and support don't mix well at all. The only attacking skill it has also attacks the allied party as well. And that's all I have to say about it. Finally, we have Chef. Chef is a hybrid warrior healer class, focusing on attack and defense. Effectively, it has the same problems that warrior carries. Horrible speed, bad stat spread. It's also one of the few classes that can cause resentment, which we'll go over later, but it's not a thing we really want to trigger. That leaves us with 2 classes, Thief and Mage. I chose Thief at the beginning. While it has very low strength, it makes up for it in support and speed. Unlike Popstar, Thief focuses on disrupting the enemy, making it a very good choice for boss fights. But the obvious winner here is Mage. Mage is one of the best classes in the game for damage alone. It has an unrivaled magic stat, great speed, ton of attacking options to choose from with a ton of MP to burn through. Its AI is also average, which, believe me, it's pretty massive in this game in particular. And most bosses have a magic stat of 0. Magic is 0 magic attack and magic defense, so they will take a massive amount of damage in return. It's the perfect class for this challenge. With all that said, we now get our second party member.
Now with 2 party members, we can grind a tiny bit so I can learn Fire, a basic single hit move that does decent damage, and Spy learns Booby Trap. If he puts this down and the foe attacks him, the foe will be countered, which is very helpful since it can be spammed every turn, though sadly, most bosses have 2 turns. Speaking of bosses, we encounter our next one, the Butterfly. As I just said, bosses normally have 2 turns to act in this game. Usually, they don't attack the same person twice, so we need a cool dodge after the Booby Trap counter to kill him quickly in 2 turns, rescuing one of the lost spaces of Greenhorn. Now, after finishing levels, we rest at an inn. Here we can buy new weapons for more damage, or feed our characters food to up their individual stats. Theoretically, we can grind food here to reach the cap of 99 more stats for each stat, but let's be honest. Who has time for that? Not us. While we're in the inn, also we can upgrade our relationship level. When 2 people interact nicely with each other, they will gain relationship points with each other. When it levels up, their relationship increases, usually granting a powerful perk between those 2 characters which happens at random. At level 2, you get Show Off, which lets you do slightly more damage with your attack. And at level 3, you get Warning, which gives the duo a low chance to dodge a move, but even then, if it activates, you only avoid the move 50% of the time. The last notable move is Lend a Hand at level 6. Whenever you perform a move, your allies will do the same move as you, adding a damage relative to their own stats, but with less of a multiplier. Adventuring through the 3rd level with some stronger weapons, we can grab our 3rd character, Sanda. With 2 mages, taking down groups of enemies should be no problem whatsoever. Later on, we meet the Great Sage, a powerful traveling mage. While they aren't too relevant in the story just yet, do keep them in mind. Continuing our search for faces, we grind over at the Banshee Cave. At level 4, I learn Lightning. This move is good as it can inflict splash damage to adjacent foes, dealing more damage in general. Now we can get through some of the fights with more enemies in it. After clearing the top left path, we finally meet our final party member, Geeky. With a full party of mages and a tiny bit of grinding, we head over to the next boss, the Boulder. I don't know, I'm just naming them what I see them. The most annoying part about this boss is that it comes with side enemies, which the AI loves to target first for some reason, but thankfully Lightning takes out the boss and the enemies pretty easily. If the clouds survive, they will usually heal themselves, giving you the win. Next up in the list is the Mouse. Now we cannot let this guy attack, as their normal attack is a sweep attack that hits for splash damage, just like Lightning. After a bit of levels, we can take down the Mouse in 2 lightnings and sweep the boss itself. After getting through the Banshee Cave, we now need to defeat an imp. This is the first truly difficult fight. First off, this dude spawns 4 other enemies with it. Next, this guy carries a magic move. Magic moves, unlike physical moves, will never miss, nor will trigger the dodge perks, meaning if the enemy uses one, it's game over. Lastly, this guy also has a lot of HP we need to cut through. Tell you right now, the way we are, we cannot get past this reliably. Instead, I decided to grind to level 9. This grants Spy with Backflip, another chance to dodge a physical attack, and the mages with Explosion, damaging every enemy on the field. We also grind the Banshees to get Banshee Tears, which give a boost to our magic stat when eaten, and grab some weapon upgrades. Even with all this, we still can't dodge the magic attack and we can't damage it enough to kill it. So are we screwed? Well no, because its magic attack is not the only move it has and uses. This guy can use a normal melee attack as well. All we have to do is pray it never uses its magic move, and make the dodge chance twice, or at least once if they target Spy, and let our allies explode the slimes and take out the imp within 2 turns, letting us finally rescue all the faces of Greenhorn Town.
After helping all of Greenhorn Town, we can finally proceed over to the castle. On the way we found a horse being attacked, but we're not sure say we due to being super OP by now. The horse is a pretty important party member, able to do a whole assortment of things, The horse damage is scaled to your own level, so sometimes it might not be a good idea to use them. However, above all else, we need to get the horse relationship level with Spy up to 15 to unlock something immensely useful later on. At this point, normal fights are pretty much something we don't need to talk about now since we have explosion. But after a short level, we are at the castle, only to see the king thing stolen. So now we gotta get that back, letting us fight King Golem. Now, even with our stats and weapon, we only did around 20 to 25 damage per hit. However, this guy has 250 HP, meaning without any extra help it would take around 3 to 4 turns to kill him. Assuming he hits Spy's contest trap, this is definitely not going to work, and even then grinding more stats won't help too much either. But there is another solution. While we were grinding a bit more, the red had half of the wheel be a royal potion. This means if you land on it, you basically get a ridiculous amount of XP scaled to your level. Basically meaning you get a level up 9 times out of 10. Here Spy leveled us up to be level 14, with this will grant us Mega Fire. This is a massively upgraded fire spell, having much higher base power and magic multiplier. With this skill and a lucky team up, we can obliterate the golem and save the king's face. After saving the king, we meet the princess, who asks us to check up on some random guy. On the way we run into our first nerp. These guys are the rare enemy of this game, but unfortunately we cannot really take much advantage of them. Most nerfs have a base speed of 100, so even then if you wanted to fight one, they will always get the first attack and hit us unless we dodge somehow. So honestly we never bothered unless there were like only one of them. We found the traveler we were told about and rescue him. We return with the good news before the king gives us a request himself, telling us to find a guy from the neighbor land. On the way is when we will run into our first resentment scenario. Resentment is when certain party members are temporarily not friends with each other anymore, losing all of their friend perks and getting bad card perks in return. It's just very annoying, since it can also have a chance to mess up with your plan, and some can even hurt you if you're really unlucky. Thankfully, clearing it is easy, as you just need to set them in a room together and finish a short level. If you're lucky, they will even clear it out faster than normal. Back to the adventure, we know with a friends dude, but during our escort a giant griffin comes and starts to harass us, but with Mega Fire it goes down very quickly. Once we come back, we accidentally start a love triangle. We now need to leave and get some random fruits, but exactly 10 seconds later the caster is attacked by him. Now we need to defeat the naughty imp. Unlike the last imp we found, this dude traded his magic attack for a status move, and since Skull can ignore status, we just need one turn of him attacking Spy to defeat them and rescue the castle. Unfortunately, the princess' face has been taken to the Nightmare Tower. Upon reaching the top, we now do battle against the general. This guy has 420 HP, so we'll need to shoot on him. While he does have magic move, he rarely uses it, so we just need to dodge 2 of his physical moves in order to deal enough damage to finish him off. With the princess face restored, Greenhorn is finally clear and we can now move on to the next area.
Wait, what? What happened to all my friends? Great, I'm back to being solo. Even worse is that I've been locked out of my thief class, forcing me to choose another one. Well, the good news is that I have a few more classes to choose from. The only one I won't consider is Imp. While Imp has a great attack and magic stat, it sadly suffers from being a very slow class. Its AI is also very sporadic, either doing what you want them to do or not. It is also worth mentioning that since I have food stats, I may have a little bit of extra speed that I can work to my advantage. It also carries one of the best support moves in the entire game, called Sweet Whispers, learned very early at level 6. This will make one enemy take 1.5 times more damage from all attacks. However, due to its low speed, the allies and foes will more than likely outspeed you before you can even use it without heavy speed investment. Scientist is interesting. It's an alternate version of the mage, possessing slightly higher speed for less magic. However, it has a much less diverse move pool than mage, having only one single hit attack and getting mostly AoE moves from then on. My friends wanted me to try it out to see if it was any good on an AI later. But for now, the class I chose for this segment is the Cat. The Cat class is an inverse to the Warrior. They have a very similar stat spread, however, it sacrifices HP for high speed, tying the Mage at max level. This makes Cat significantly more useful, outspeeding the majority of nearly all enemies. However, the Cat class has one major flaw. It has some of the worst AI in the entire game. Instead of attacking with its massive attack stat, Cats would rather start doing insanely dumb garbage a normal person would never start doing. So sadly, even though Cat is absolutely useful, working with this class is not worth the hassle. However, since I am able to control my actions, Cat will be very useful to me. Even better is a move that we will unlock later that will be massively useful against most bosses in the game. Starting the first level, I am easily able to kill every enemy due to Cat's high attack power and my food stats from the last area. After the level is over, we meet a new ally. Oh hey, it's Starman.
Yo, what's up?
I decided to let Starman be a mage, but this will be the only mage we will have for this particular team.
The enemies are slightly more stronger here than in Greenhorn, since the game thinks you're being carried by your food stats by now, so I'm very behind in statistics compared to Spy. Not only that, but we need to redo our entire relationship levels since there are completely new people here. After a tiny grinding session and a little bit of luck from the horse's hit all move, we can proceed to the town area and meet up with Psycho on the way. We decided to make him a scientist to see if he was any better than the mage. Spoiler alert, it wasn't any better at all. Meanwhile, we find a lamp, but also find out that a genie has been causing trouble here in Neksdor town. Getting a request to go punish the genie of the lamp, we rush over to the nearby cave. We also meet the Great Sage a few times as they are interested in the lamp, but leave the task to us since we're about to do it anyway. On our way, we meet up with our last party member, Yoshi. Here is the thief that was promised earlier, so let's see how useful they can be. With a full party once again, we head back to Greenhorn to trade up a bit and learn some core moves like Booby Trap for Yoshi, Glitch for Psycho, and Cat's Paw for Spy. Once inside the cave, Psycho also learns Unstable Formula, a hit-all magic move that does decent damage and can easily clear out the wave of enemies. We now have to fight a mini-boss. Just like most other bosses, we just don't have much in the way of firepower. I think it's time to pull out the secret weapon. As mentioned earlier, we wanted the horse to be at least relationship level 15 with Spy. What this does is unlock Horse Whispering. Sometimes when the horse wants to help out Spy, he can, for all his MP, use basically a super move. This is different for each and every class. For example, Warrior gets a massive damaging physical attack, while Popstar can heal everyone and give them the hyper status. However, Cat is similar to Warrior, but instead of getting one strong hit, it gets 6 hits. After one Horse Whispering, we take him down in only one turn. After making the genie give back the gold, the Dark Lord attacks Neksdor town, and once again steals most of the faces there. First boss is the Cobra, but we have no idea what it does because we killed him turn 1. Now we enter the Great Pyramid. The first boss we have here is the Painting. This boss is horrible because of a few reasons. First off, it has minions with them, which our allies will prioritize first, not to mention it has 350 HP. It also has a counter attack if you try to hit it with a normal attack, so don't bother using normal attacks. Lastly, it's not too common, but it does have a move that hits all that is magic, meaning an instant game over. While the minions don't have a lot of health, it can still screw up much of the allies' AI, doing a lot of what you don't want to happen. After one Horse Whispering, the Painting is now at very critical health, allowing our allies to finish off everything on the field.
Continuing the train of annoying bosses, we have these guys. These guys have a unique mechanic all to themselves where they can lend a hand to each other. Now, if you're wondering why these are the only enemies with this mechanic, well, so do I got no fucking clue. But we cannot dodge this combo attack, so we need to kill the sword as fast as possible, as not only does it enable the combo attack to work, but it also gets 2 turns. The shield can also cover for the sword, but this only works for normal attacks, so we just use a Cat Whisper on the sword and it dies. The shield only gets 1 turn, so this just means we have to dodge 1 more time, and this is enough to end the fight. Cat having the lowest MP pool of all classes actually works in our favor for Cat Whispering, as we can fire off another one the next turn if we are lucky enough using sprinklers. The last boss will be in the underground maze, this landscape. Now, I could tell you something interesting about this boss, except I can't, because this is the exact same boss as the last painting, down to the exact same HP value. So we end up doing the exact same strategy for this boss, and wow, can you believe it? We won! Whoa! After getting nearly all of the faces back, each person gives us a gem. This will allow us access to the end of the pyramid, where we will find the last phase, the Pharaoh. This is, without a doubt, one of the trickiest bosses for this challenge. The Pharaoh only has 2 moves. A curse attack, which inflicts you with the curse status, which causes you to be basically useless for 2 turns. And also causes you to give your bananas to the boss, healing him. Now the only way to get rid of this is to go into the safe spot. But only one person can be cursed at a time, meaning that he will always do his other attack after that. This is his physical attack. And it has splash damage. Woo! Also, he has 700 HP, so for once, we can't just steal a bunch of damage to him and hope he dies before he gets a chance to attack. We have to actually think for once. We ended up coming up with a semi-reliable strategy, but it really required the horse to cooperate with us. Now, on the first turn, if the horse doesn't want to play with Spy, he will just use Sharpened Claws. This is so that if the horse wants to play the next turn, he can still do the same amount of damage he would have done otherwise. But the problem with that is, we have to survive for 1 turn for this to work. So how do we do that? We decided to only use 3 members in this fight. Why, you may ask? You see, the splash damage can affect anyone if there is no one around the attack character. This way, we only have to put the middle person into the safe zone, making the splash damage completely useless. Haha, idiot. But then who do we leave behind? Wow! Really? Wow! Damn! Anyway, if the horse does happen for Spy, the Pharaoh should be just below half health. But if not, dealing at least 100 damage is good enough. Now on the Pharaoh's first turn, his first action will always be cursing someone. We put Spy into the safe spot for that, so he can be affected by it. After that, we put Starman into the safe spot. Now if the far right person got cursed, that's not really a big deal. Enemies don't usually attack the same person twice, so they will attack Spy next and he can still dodge, hopefully. Now if you got a horse twice, or you got it on the second turn after charging, you basically already won. However, this is Spy that we're talking about, so of course that doesn't happen. No horse on the second turn, so Spy just has to attack normally. However, Yoshi, unusually smart for an AI, puts down a trap, so only Spy needs to dodge. And he does, so we are in the clear. On turn 3, Spy finally gets the help of his horse, and with the whispering damage and the chip damage from before, we can finally finish off the Pharaoh, clearing all of Neksdor. So what was the next area again? Realm of the Fae? Man, I hate that place. If only something happened that made it so I didn't have to go there.
Wow, again? Real original video game. Well, we've got new classes to choose from, so let's just get into it. First up is Tank, and yeah. Tank is the worst class ever. Most moves cause resentment, and Tank stays at 0 speed forever. Even on a normal playthrough, don't ever choose Tank. Flower isn't very great as well. It's a healing support class. Unlike Popstar, it carries mostly magic and status moves, but honestly, I wouldn't even bother with this class either. However, the Princess class is by far the most useful class in this challenge, almost tailor-made for it. This is a magic support class that focuses on messing with enemies and helping allies. While their magic moves aren't very powerful, it more than makes up for it with powerful status that makes battles one-sided. At level 2 you get the massively useful but still unreliable Regal Dance. This will hit all enemies and each have a 70% chance to be distracted, skipping their turn. This is a massive upgrade to the Popstar's earworm. Not only that, while gotten late, it gets Eau de Cologne. I'm just gonna call it Cologne. A direct upgrade to Imp's Sweet Lispers, as it hits all enemies instead of just one, letting each enemy take more damage from before. Princess can also block statuses from everyone some of the time, and if at least one person is on the field, it will gain an extra chance to dodge physical moves with Escort. However, its best move by far is Princess's Horse Whispering. This will give the praise status to everyone while giving them MP, and in addition, will inflict Cologne automatically with a high hit chance. Praise basically doubles all damage and doubles all speed and halves all damage you take. With everyone doing double damage and nearly every enemy taking slightly more damage, this makes nuking strats ridiculously powerful. Statistic wise, Princess is a very balanced class in attack and magic, letting them have high support with lend-a-hand teammates. It just also possesses just high enough speed to be basically usable. Not as fast as Mage or Scientist, but just enough to be on par with them. With all of these traits, Princess is perfect for me to use. Now we enter the realm of the Fae. After doing the first level once again, I find yet another party member. Oh hey, it's Starstack. And before you ask, yeah, we're going back with the whole mage team. I don't think switching classes was really useful in that last area.
The princess, we can now stun every enemy in a fight while I take them all down. Remember that's only a chance, and if there are more enemies in a fight, the higher the chance that I could fail. Nevertheless, after a bit of grinding to get my spells, we can now stun and kill every enemy in the way and make it to the elven retreat. Here we meet with the youngest fairy, who needs help with finding her sisters. Here's the first instance of partnered allies, however, they aren't very useful in this challenge. Not only do they do pitiful damage, but they always attack after all allies and foes, and the chip damage they do really doesn't matter, so they kinda just exist there. The youngest fairy has Dancing Arrow as her skill, able to stun one enemy. Considering it's at the end of the turn when it happens, it's not useful to us. On our way to find one of the sisters, we meet up with River, and now we enter Citrus Cave. There isn't anything that can really stop us, especially Regal Dance stunning them. We can just head right up to the boss, the Arachno Spider. This guy is very tough for silly reasons. One is that it has 260 HP. If you remember at the beginning of the game, most foes and bosses never really broke 100 HP. But now we need to cut through 260 HP with not only low-level characters, but also only 3 characters. This fight pretty much makes us grind up to level 14 to get Mega Fire, as the normal fire is just way too weak now. After grinding for what feels like forever, we now rematch the spider. We need 2 turns to do enough damage to defeat it. It's a bit less common, but it can use a status move that covers you in spiders, skipping one of its attack turns. Other than that, it should be easy once you get the run. After the middle fairy is saved, she tags in for the youngest, joining as our partner instead. Her skill is Counter Arrow, making her the most useful fairy partner. Any physical attack thrown our way has a chance to be countered by her, and it works when we're about to be hurt. Now we need to rescue the eldest fairy, who is stuck somewhere in the forest. On our way we meet our newest and, spoiler alert, final party member, Triple. And as you can see, he's kind of far away from the others in terms of levels and relationships. This is why we have the roulette and outing tickets for. With all 3 mages at level 14, we are now prepared for the rest of the area. And we make our way for the eldest Fab Fairy, now needing to fight the Owl. I'll be honest, we don't know what this thing does because it died in 1 turn. After freeing her and after a silly little dance number, we can now continue on... Oh wait, no, that's right. We let the Dark Lord into the village and you can guess what happens next. Yeah, sorry for having to do this all again, the eldest fairy joins us, and she is the most useless fairy. Only skills an all-target healing move, and that's all you need to know.
First up is the Tomato Brothers, and let's be honest, we don't know what these guys do because we killed them on the first turn. Now we move on to the Citrus Cave once again. First, we'll need to pull a lever before we can go and fight another butterfly. This will more than likely take us more than 1 turn since they've got minions with 400 HP. It's also pretty much a coin flip if they use their magic attack or not. Once again, however, we don't need to worry about any of them since we have Princess Whispering. Here we double our damage and lower their defense, once again making one-shotting the boss extremely easy. The next boss is another slime, just like at the beginning of the game. We actually had to kill this one in one turn, as this slime only has a sweep attack. Once we get another Princess Whispering, the boss goes down very quickly. With 3 of the Fey bosses down, we grab the 3 gems needed to rescue the youngest fairy. We'll need to either go down or down. We're going down because of the illusion of free choice. Now we'll need to fight the main boss, the Frog. This boss actually isn't too bad, despite joining with minions and having 650 HP. If Whispering isn't an option, Spy can easily clear out the minions while everyone attacks. This boss has a splash attack that, as far as we're all concerned, we cannot dodge at all. But that doesn't matter, as half of the time they will charge up their Ultra Breath attack. This move takes 3 turns to charge up, meaning that if they waste both of their turns charging up on the very first turn, we can just continuously attack them, and once we get the run going, we easily beat up the Frog and rescue the fairies, letting us clear Realm of the Fae.
Okay, seriously? 3 times in a row? Do people actually think this is fun or something? Anyway, once again, I am by myself. Now, I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is that this party stealing thing doesn't happen anymore. But the bad news is that I'm still a princess. Now, why is that bad? Because princess is not very useful as a single player only. The class is a very useful support for other party members. And as you can see, yeah. I was really hoping I could be a cat for its nuking ability instead, but I guess I'll just have to live with it. Now we get to enter the land of Karkaton. Here we meet the Great Sage once again. Since I'm just by myself, the Sage themselves decides to join me. While the Sage is a pretty decent ally, the fact that partners attack last really makes them not that great unless I get an extra turn myself. Once a good way into Karkaton, we meet a few of my past party members. Their faces have been stolen, so I waste no time trying to rescue them. I find triple first on some slime. Oh no, not again. This fight is exactly like the very first fight in the game, except it has a massively staggering 300 HP. But without any friends by my side, I don't have access to the Avoid and Escort passives I would normally have. So this really turns into another test of luck and patience. God, I wish it was a cat so badly. If I can dodge at least 2 attacks, I can take it down and rescue one of my friends.
Don't worry, I got it from here. Now that we have a party of 2, we have access to most of our passives again, and Spy's Princess class isn't so useless anymore. Now we need to make our way over to the top right corner, which is where Geeky is. However, in order to rescue her, we need to fight one of the worst bosses in the entire game, the Pain Cloud. Let's list off all the reasons why this fight is absolutely garbage. First off, there's the obvious, we only have 2 party members, and this thing is 600 HP. Doing 600 damage with only 2 party members is going to be an issue, and just to make things worse, it attacks twice per turn. Its attacks are a simple ram attack that can be dodged, and a rain attack that hits everyone. This one can't be dodged because it's a magic attack. The ram attack is more common, but we still have to dodge it, and at our current stats, we just can't do enough damage to kill the boss fast enough. We would need to dodge a ridiculous amount of attacks to win, and also never get the rain attack, so there's only one thing we can do. We have to grind. After grinding hobgoblins and relationship points for a long while, we decided to try some more runs of the Pain Cloud. We managed to get a decent run with Princess Whispering at the beginning, but we missed the defense down on the boss. This would have been a reset, but we both managed to dodge the boss, and every attack gets the lend a hand bonus, so we were just barely able to do enough damage together to kill off the Pain Cloud for good. With Geeky now in our party, we need to kill the last boss around here to rescue Yoshi, this boss being the Burning Golem. This guy has only physical moves, but he has a sweep attack. Luckily this isn't too much of a problem because we're a 3-person team at the moment. Also, this guy only has 500 HP, which is kinda crazy because the last guy had 600. We had a much easier time in this fight, needing only 2 dodges to proceed, and with this, we now have a full party once again. More importantly, we now have the ability to switch jobs at will. This is great because now we have access to every class at any time. This will let us be way more flexible with our strategies going forward. As we head into the volcano, our party gets separated, with 2 groups going 2 different routes. Whenever this happens, we can actually time warp back to when it happened and plan accordingly, so there's no worries about getting stuck in a level because of this. Thankfully though, all the enemies die to an explosion on Spy's side, and on the other we just need to take the correct route to end the level. With the crew together again, we now fight the main boss of Karkaton, Cerberus. This fight is extremely important, as this gives you the Hyper Sprinkles. When you use these, they give you the Hyper status, which triples your attack power but limits you to only using your basic attack. At first, this limitation might seem like a downside, but it's actually great for us. One of the reasons we never used the cat class before was because of its awful AI. It tends to not attack very often and instead focus on buffing itself, which really isn't worth it for us. But with the Hyper status, the AI is forced into always using their basic attack. This lets us do insane damage because the cat has the highest attack stat next to the warrior. Combine this with the fact that Spy can lower enemy defenses and other Hyper party members who lend a hand to the attack also have their attack tripled, well, just watch.
Oh, you're doing it, you're Hyper.
Let's see.
Yeehaw!
200?
2.
Please? Thank you.
Oh,
Oh my god, that was like
100?
500?
Good.
I think this kills.
Yeah? Yeah, I think so. Oh my god, that was 800 damage or more.
Guys, we
Yeah,
did
that
it!
You
Thank
killed him in
you.
one turn, that's 1200 damage.
Saved me.
Holy shit.
Just one shot again.
Now those numbers have to be in the pitch.
Yeah.
So, with our next 3 party members saved, we now rush over to the Dark Lord's castle. The Great Sage does bid us farewell, as we now have more than enough people to help us out. Making our way into the castle, we once again get split up, making sure that all of our cat party members are on one side. As for the magic users, we want them to have a high friendship with each other, because they will be teaming up for the rest of the game. On Spy's side, we now fight the demon. Now this demon is only really annoying because he gets like 3 turns for some reason, so the probability chances are like really shit. And while the whispering didn't work because it's Spy Guy, we do hit the cologne to 2-turn him. Apart from his normal attack, he also has a status boost he can use, but the probability of him using it are really low due to Prince's abilities and the cool passives we have. Once we get the dodges, we can end the fight with no problem. Meanwhile on the cat side, we fight another painting. Woo, fucking woo, baby. Now just like every other painting in the game, the only thing you have to watch out is the auto counter that can rarely appear when you like attack with anything. But if you're not unlucky, the boss dies very quickly. Next up is the armor. This is packaged for 2 allies, but for once you actually want to kill the allies that come with it as fast as you can. Because if it doesn't have any allies, it will instead call for more allies. You can then repeat this process over and over until you can just easily defeat them. Now what do you expect from a penultimate boss before the last one? That's right, a random dragon! And all of his moves are magic based, so we have to kill him immediately. But luckily, with the power of bullshit and hyper cats, he doesn't even stand a chance. And with a few more preparations like food stats and weapons, we can finally advance to the Dark Thrones. As you might be able to tell, we have a very major problem in our hands here. Now this fella over here is called a fiend. This guy has a max stat of 10,000 magic and 10,000 speed. I'm gonna say that again. 10,000 speed. Now the main gimmick is pretty simple. He gets the first turn to immediately kill a party member before you can even move. And there's nothing you can do about it because it's magic based. No matter what you do, it will always be the same. Someone dies, the game's over. So what happens? Do we cheat? Do we say we skipped the fight and we just went on? Does Spy Guy realize that this fucking YouTube thing is not for him? Sadly, none of those 3, because there's still something. And that is that the Fiend doesn't have only one move, but has 2 instead. Hey, what? While it is incredibly rare, 10%, the Fiend has a normal attack that it can do. And it's physical based, so it can be dodged. So, if you brute force this battle hard enough, you will eventually get a run that lets you play the game. You better pray to every single god on Earth so that your regal dance actually hits everyone while your party members take out the rest of the enemies. And now finally, all we have to do is not get hit in the next fight. You better pray that doesn't happen. And if you manage to do that, we can finally beat the hardest level in the entire game. And now we can finally challenge the Dark Lord, and he's dead on the floor. Gonna be honest, the Hypercats completely destroyed that man. With the Dark Lord defeated, we finally beat the game. And the game isn't over. The Dark Curse takes over the Great Sage's body, turning him into the Darker Lord. An even more powerful version of the Dark Lord. Ooh! And with no idea where the Dark Lord even went, the dragon we murdered earlier wants to help us and suggests that we head over to the Traveler's Hub.
Here at the Traveler's Hub, we have to do a few quests in order to proceed and look for the Darker Lord's location. The first quest takes us to the snowy lands of Powdered Peaks. Nothing is too problematic around here, but there are things to look out for. First, you should be training all of your party members. Spy has 2 teams of mages and the Hyper Cat team. We have 2 mage teams because of story reasons later and because of the sickness mechanic. After beating the Dark Lord, party members can actively get sick and be unusable for battle until you get enough experience from battles to cure them. One other thing to mention is the catalog. In the past, we had to buy our weapons separately for everyone. With the catalog, after getting the weapon with any character once, we could just buy it from the catalog for anyone, regardless if that isn't the next weapon they're supposed to get. This massively decreases the amount of money we need to spend on weapons. At the end, we need to fight a Yeti. No idea what it does. Cats are broken. Next quest, we head over to Peculia. This place is a maze of levels, but the enemies aren't too bad as long as your mages cooperate. Now we need to fight a hamburger. While it still has allies, it's still better to fight with cats here. The hamburger has a high chance to eat an ally, so we just need to dodge one attack and nuke him afterwards. The next quest takes us to Nimbus, the worst area in the game. Everything in this area has very high speed. Spy is the only one able to outspeed them all, so heavy regal dance spam is necessary here. But the boss is extremely annoying. While he's able to outspeed everything, everyone else is locked in a speed tie with every enemy. With the cats, we need at least 1 dodge and good speed luck. Once we get that, we can blow up the boss once again. After beating that quest, we finally locate the skyscraper. Before we can even enter, we need to locate the 4 jewels to open the door, meaning we need to do more quests. First, we're going back to Nimbus to the sterile plant. Once again, we'll have to regal dance spam to take them all down. At the end, we fight the Robo-Robot. Now, before we nuke the shit out of this boss as well, we want the robot to use its lock-on move. This will trigger the game to, after 85% of the game's already over, to give us the shield sprinkles. This will block 1 hit on 1 character, but we have 5 charges of this per level. With the sprinkles, any more fights in the game will not give us any trouble whatsoever. Spy also finally learns Ultimate Royal Wave, a move that hits all enemies with a massive base magic power, clearing out all enemies in every level until the end. In the Powdered Peaks revisit, even though we get split up once again, it doesn't matter now that we have shield sprinkles, and the Snow Queen gets blown up. Peculia is similar, as the dog boss likes to heal mostly, but too gets blown up. Now that we have all 4 jewels for the door, we can now enter the skyscraper. This place is mostly a boss rush, making you fight bosses you've fought before. The first one is a refight with the Dark Lord. Despite having awful luck, it really didn't matter as shield sprinkles basically covered us the whole fight, letting us defeat them in 2 turns. Once again, we're forced to split up. Just like at Dark Lord's castle, you want to use your team of mages on one side and all the cats on the other. At the end of Spy's route, we need to fight the Gold General and the Strong Golem. These guys are pathetic as both have very low HP. One whispering later, and all our mages can take them out no problem. On the cat's side, they now have to fight the Pharaoh again. He once again has the sweep attack, and with bad luck, this will take 2 turns. Not that it really matters. The last boss we need to fight here is the Red Frog. But he's just like the last frog, so if he sucks up enough he's not a threat, and he dies just like the rest. With this, we finally make it to the portal, to Otherworld.
Now we make it up to Otherworld. After using Ultimate Royal Wave to cut through pretty much everything, we finally make it to the final boss. After raising my stats, getting the best weapons I can, getting some extra levels, and raising my relationships to the level I want them to be, we now challenge the Darker Lord themselves. They split themselves into 3 different parts, meaning we need to split our party of 10 to defeat each part. I put my first 3 mage team versus the right, the other 3 versus the left, and the cats plus myself to the main body. As expected, the final boss is one of the hardest and most annoying enemies in this game. Or, well, their hands are. So let's talk about the left one first. This thing has 1000 HP, and our mages do about an average of about 125 to 135, which, doesn't add up to a 2-turn kill, unless we get pair-ups. 3 people pair-ups feel like they're more rare than normal here, so it's very annoying when they don't hit the luck they need. As for the hands attacking turn, we don't want to use too many shields as all shields carry over to the next phase. Here I use only 2 to try to make the next phase as easy as possible. The hand has 3 attacks to choose from while also having a double turn. One is a physical coin toss move that can be dodged. One is a hit all magic move, and one is an automatic run ender, as it hits 3 times, and since I only have 2 people out, it's gonna hit one of them again regardless. We want either 2 coin attacks, as it doesn't hit the same person twice, or a cool dodge after the magic attack breaks our shields. With enough persistence and grinding our runs, you should get a decent run that gets you past the left hand. The right hand can be even more annoying or basically be nothing. First, this thing has 1300 HP, meaning we have to kill it on turn 3 with some decent luck. All moves used by the right hand are magic based, so we cannot dodge them at all. This is why I need more shields for this phase than the last. It can use a normal magic attack, a magic attack that can sweep the sides, or his lock-on move. Above all else, we want him to use his lock-on move, as it takes 2 turns to actually fire off an attack. Put your middle person in the safe zone and start praying. The goal here is that you want him to use his lock-on move at least once. We have 3 shields, but he has at least 4 turns. If he attacks normally all 4 turns, it's game over. But if one of those is a lock-on, he doesn't actually attack. Always have 1 lock-on person in the safe zone, even with the threat of the sweep attack, and if you pray hard enough, they too will defeat the right hand eventually. But now, after capturing our friends again, it's time to fight the final phase and end this game for good. This is the Darkest Lord. Now you're probably thinking we can just nuke this thing again, right? Well, that's not the most reliable strat. This thing has 2500 HP, but whenever they drop to 50% health, they will always, no matter what, use their ultimate skill Big Bang. This bypasses all shields and reduces your HP down to 1. First thing we're going to do is chip this thing's health down. Above 50% health, the first move that they will always do is summon 2 coin enemies. These are incredibly easy to kill since they only have 150 HP. So for turn 1, we lower their defense while the cats chip down their HP. After they summon the coins, I use Ultimate Royal Wave to kill the coins and for some chip damage. Now all we have to do is hyper everyone up and pray to the goddess in the sky.
Alright, here it
Put my hands
goes.
together. You can do this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
1 help, 2
Oh
help,
yeah.
3 help.
This is the one.
Come on, man.
You
Come on.
did it.
There
Died
it
in
is.
one.
You did it! You beat the game!
Everybody together.
That's all, man.
We prayed so hard.
Right, I just woke up. What's
We all have
happening
been in,
here?
so.
Apparently the solution was to take a nap.
Right now, do new Lumos and gather the sides.
Now, he will do that at 1 million views.
That's a good one, actually.
That is a very good one.
Alright, see you in another 2 years, Yuri.
Very nicely done, Spy.
Thank you. It only took forever.
Hey, that's me.
Yo, Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Horns.
Oh yeah, the horse was there.
Ew.
Bonk.
Finally, I can do Mario and Luigi challenges.
Yeah.
After rescuing the Great Sage, making the curse look even worse than they were originally, and having my friends plan me a therapy session for still playing RPGs without getting hurt, the game is finally over and peace returns to the land.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
anytime you click on most popular, it's always some Japanese name with an anime character.
Yeah, and it's like a 3DS as well. Like, it's not even the
Wow!
fresh-
Starman doesn't want to play the game anymore. I don't blame him. Wow. Wow. I can't believe
this shit.
I don't
Simon.
blame them.
If it makes you happy, Spy, I'm still here.
Me too.
I went home to.
Why
play
am I
Octopath
still
Traveler.
here? I'm getting the frick out of here.